We know that abortion rights going to be front and center in this campaign. And now Iowa, the state of Iowa, is now banning most abortions after about 6 weeks, which, of course, is before many women even know that they're pregnant. The strict law went into effect yesterday and prohibits abortions after cardiac activity can be detected. The law includes limited exceptions for rape, incest, fetal abnormality, or when the life of the mother is in danger. The law briefly took effect last year before a district judge temporarily blocked it. Last month, the Iowa Supreme Court reiterated that there is no constitutional right to an abortion in the state and ordered that that hold be lifted. Previously, Iowa allowed abortions up to 20 weeks. That comes as the Harris campaign just kicked off a Fight for Reproductive Freedom week of action. In a campaign video, Harris called out Donald Trump for enabling Iowa's abortion ban and reaffirmed her commitment to protecting reproductive rights and freedoms. Today, Harris will meet with reproductive rights leaders and activists during her trip to Atlanta. She'll also hold dozens of events in battleground states this week. She and her team will do that focuses on the key issue of abortion health care. And Molly, your latest piece for Vanity Fair bears the title, Republicans Want to Bring Women Back to the 1950s. And in it, you write in part this: never in history have we had two parties running on such radically different visions for women. On one end, leading the Democratic Party is a woman whose platform includes codifying Roe and protecting women's fundamental rights. On the other, there is a party headed by a thrice-married adulterer who was involved in payoffs to both a Playboy playmate and an adult film star, and who is running on a platform of bringing women's rights back to the pre-1960s state. So, Molly, tell us a little bit more about your piece. And the contrast is so stark. Yeah. And we know that since the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade, abortion rights basically undefeated at the ballot box.
Yeah. Undefeated in red states, too. What's interesting is I look back on the things that the Senate refused to codify, right? So there were a bunch of bills that the Democrats tried to pass on IVF, in vitro fertilization, which is wildly popular. And, you know, people like Mike Pence have admitted to using in vitro fertilization or some sort of in vitro fertilization. So these are not necessarily partisan issues, but they've gotten swept up in this Republican war on choice. And again, what has happened is Republicans have painted themselves into a corner. They believe in this embryonic personhood. They call it fetal personhood, which means in their minds, a fertilized embryo, a 5-cell embryo, should have the same rights as a fully grown person, a personhood. And so this paints them into a corner, right? Because then the IVF, birth control, IUDs, all of these different things which have been legal for a long time come under pressure. And I think what's interesting, too, is on the activist side, you have people like Christopher Rufo talking about ending no-fault divorce. And this is something that was signed into law, you'll remember, by famous leftist Ronald Reagan, right, in California. And this was an idea. No-fault divorce was like one of these really important moments in American life. It cut down domestic violence. It gave women a way out of a bad marriage. And it was really seminal. And these Republicans are talking about the sort of brain trust, or the Republican Party is talking about getting rid of it. So they really are trying to bring American women back to a pre-1950s state.
This is just such a huge issue for Democrats to exploit, the fault line, those undecided voters who might lean right, but they don't want doctors involved in women's basic medical health care decisions, which is what this is. This is an invasion of privacy. It's the antithesis of freedom of choice when the government is literally in the room with the patient and the doctor and restricting life-saving care that a woman might need. And that's how the Democrats need to frame and message this. It needs to be about basic freedom and getting the government out of doctors' offices.
And you see in these red states, so Harris has been really good talking about this, is that it's much more dangerous to be pregnant. Because you can't get, in some of these states, like Louisiana, there was a report that women,
it already is more dangerous.
Right. And women can't get they can't get first trimester natal care because doctors are afraid, because there are common miscarriages in the first trimester, they're afraid to treat because they're worried that they will face legal consequences. You can't have doctors that are afraid of lawmakers. They're not going to be giving their best medical care. And that is really what's happening. There's so many unforeseen consequences of these bans, which is why they were decided so broadly in 1973. And we're really coming up against it again.
It's interesting, just kind of feeling the passion of you guys just talking as women. Of course, as a man, I feel exactly the same way, but something different happens as a woman. And I think that's why the J.D. Vance thing about the countless one struck such a nerve, the cruelty about talking about women who have chosen not to have children or can have children, this overall assault on women coming from Donald Trump, coming from J.D. Vance, I just think is the linchpin of everything going forward.
Yeah, it's a really good point about certainly the reaction, the visceral reaction people have had to those comments. It's going to matter and it's not going anywhere. So.